All right. So great friends, it's wonderful being here and thanks for joining in on time. So I basically would like to just introduce myself very briefly. I'm a psychotherapist. I have been in the industry for 25 years. Started my career with psychotherapy, went on to learn hypnotherapy, went on to teach and develop the curriculum on metaphor therapy, for which I am the only trainer in India, and thoroughly enjoy training as well as I have my clinical practice. And so I teach child psychology, I teach play therapy, I teach hypnotherapy, I teach family constellations, I teach metaphor therapy. So in circulation, one after the other, and I teach NLP. So basically, I found there's a lot of gap. We have people who have the degrees but do not have the skills. On the other hand, we find people who have the skills but do not have the degrees. So the skills. So the whole point is we need a community of people who are really having good skills and that real affinity and that magic and that magnetic power to attract people to their words. Many of us intuitively feel that our words matter. People ask us for suggestions. I have a natural affinity to draw people to myself. But when they come to us, we are able to help them in an intuitive way and we say the right things. Now, it's high time many of us who are doing this need to put a design to it. The reason simply being that whenever you're flowing along techniques, you are doing a much better job. So, we are right now going to be talking about family constellations, which is basically also called as ancestral healing work. It was started by Burt Hellinger, who is a transpersonal psychologist in Germany. And it was during his work with the tribes. He is a Christian Jesuit priest, and he was posted in a tribal area where he had to actually, the main part was to convert people, but in the process, he landed up learning many of their rituals. And he saw that no matter what they did, what celebration they did, what ritual they did, they called their ancestors, they included their ancestors into it, and he really wanted to know what was the reason behind it. Then he also studied a lot of Eastern philosophy and Eastern practices, even Indian, and he figured out that ancestral worship or ancestral inclusion is a very, very largely practiced exercise among many cultures of the world. And then he got actually very intrigued by that and he started studying that. And he figured out that there are many times things are known to us. And yet, no matter how much you do your conscious, you do your subconscious, you do your past lives, no matter how much you are trying to interrupt a dysfunctional pattern, you are not able to. So there are people who will have patterns of broken relationships. There are people who will have patterns of financial problems. There are people who will have patterns of living a lonely life. No matter what they try to do, it just doesn't get over. And then these individual patterns will largely be also seen in the families. So when he studied these patterns, he said, okay, for issues that cannot be addressed simply, let's look into the ancestral energy field. And he actually did a lot of work and came up to understand that we all have, we've up till now been talking about the auric field, about the subconscious mind, about the past life and chakras and everything. But he said there is a field above all that which is called as the ancestral field, and the patterns of the ancestral field are genetically decoded in our systems. And no matter what we do, till we don't become aware of them, those patterns continue in our life. So many of us have imprints of how my mother's life was or how my father's life was, and I'm not able to break away from that pattern. Many times you will see some dysfunctions within the family which are difficult to explain, and that is explained by the ancestral energy field. And so he called this work family constellations because he said every family system has rules that govern the family. And these rules are orders of love, orders of respect, orders of belonging. And the moment any of the generations before you, let's say 10 generations before you, that order has been disturbed, it will automatically transpire itself into the next generation. So when I went, my first experience was, I'm a hardcore skeptic. So I generally would not believe, like, if I went for a chakra healing workshop, I would never be able to see the aura. I just would think that no, I'm making things up. So a very skeptical mind, because I was trained to be a psychotherapist. So therefore skepticism into energy work was huge. And there was resistance when I first went to attend my family constellation. And there were, I think, 40 to 50 of us in a room, and where they were going to pick up slips of paper. And this was by Yuval and Mogan, who are my teachers as well, who are direct students of Burt Hellinger. And I went to pick up, the slip was picked up, and the first name that came out was mine. And I went and sat on a chair. So the typical constellation framework is that a client is called, and the client is sitting on the chair along with the facilitator. The facilitator will talk briefly about the concern of the client, and then from the circle of people sitting around, we'll call somebody to represent a character in the client's life. So he picked up, asked me about what I wanted to address, and I said I wanted to address a house. I wanted a bigger house at that time. And no matter what I did, it just wasn't coming easy. And so he put that up, and around 30 minutes, the role play went on. Many participants were added, many things were done. Around 30 minutes later, it comes down to that during the partition time, my great grandmother had lost her property. So he asked me to look around me to see how many other people in the family were having problems with property. And when I actually quickly did a run through in my head, we are 36 cousins, and 25 of us are having property issues. And that's how it just came down from one generation to the other. And even those who are having properties are either in litigation or in something like that. So many of us were together facing this collective destiny that was left by our great grandmother. So we addressed it. I actually told my cousins, I sent them affirmations. He made me do a closure. And nothing magical happened. It's not that I came back and I landed into a big apartment. Yes, but that awareness that kept on going within me, going within me, growing within me. And eventually, 3, 4 years later, I landed into a property, and then I did make another one also. So this is what he called as transgenerational patterns. So family constellation aims to address all these transgenerational patterns, whether they are from a child. So when we talk about the orders of belonging, the orders of belonging are that everyone has a right to belong. If there's a miscarriage or an abortion or a child or an untimely death, they may have physically lost their bodies, but in an energetic field, they are still around us. And because they don't have a body, their intentions will play out through us, thereby confusing our own actions and decision making processes. So, all these children, all those people who have untimely deaths, or are aborted, or miscarriages, may be a part of our system, influencing us directly or indirectly. So, family constellation, when we frame this causes, we come to know if there was any such dysfunction in your family, and you get to address it. And when you do that address, you actually feel an energetic shift in the entire constellation. And that awareness that is built creates a shift, and that shift actually makes changes. So I found it life transforming. From an absolute skeptic, I became an absolute believer, because there was no way that the participants who were doing that role play could have known about my great grandmother. There was no way, but it just happened to surface. And then I learned, and it was a year and a half long learning, and we learned, and I was the first batch in India of the trainers of family constellation facilitators. And we started practicing, and the more I practice, the more amazed I keep on getting at Burt Hellingers' wonderful contributions. For a long time, he was himself very active and was training, but now I think his institute is active, and they do mainly trainings in German. So English trainings, I think, are translated. So if you all want to get more information on how does it really work, then maybe you could watch Another Self on Netflix, and that will give you live examples of how it works. So let me talk about right now one of the major cases that I had that I want to share so that you all understand how it works. So we took a hotel conference room. We were 20 people, and one person, we were all sitting in a circle. I was the facilitator. So there was one client who came up and said that it's the third time round that she's selling her house. She buys and she has to sell it. It's the third time round. And so she was the client, and so we brought in representatives for the house and for the way we go about framing a constellation. And when that happened, it seemed one of the participants actually lied down on the floor and said, "I'm dying." So I asked her who in her family was that sick or is that sick. She said, it was my mother-in-law. I said, okay, what had happened with her? She's saying nothing. She was a kidney patient, so she passed away. Then that participant on the floor kept on saying, this is not fair. This is not fair. This is not fair. And I asked her what was unfair done to her. She says, I don't know. I don't know what was unfair done to her. So anyways, we chose to close that constellation and saying that, we honor you, we acknowledge you. We gave acknowledgement to the soul that appeared, but I told her that we'll need probably her husband to come in. Then the next constellation, the husband came in, and the same thing repeated itself. So this participant comes on the floor and she starts in a different way, starts saying that, you all didn't do well, you all didn't do good, you all didn't do good. So I asked him, I said, what exactly was the mystery behind your mother? Like, what happened to her? And he sat still for a few moments. And after a few moments, he actually fell on the floor crying. I asked him what happened. He's saying, my mother was a kidney patient 25 years ago, and she was put on dialysis, and those days dialysis was very expensive. So we did dialysis for 3 years, and now we were cash stripped. We didn't have any more money. Now the question was that to continue her dialysis, we'll have to sell the house. And when we told her that, then she said, no, don't sell the house. I'm anyways going to go. So we stopped the dialysis. And me, my brother, and my father, we all actually pretended to say that the doctors have said that now the dialysis is not going to help. And we told that to each other. In fact, we told that lie to ourselves also. And fair enough, within 3-4 months, she deteriorated and she passed away. As soon as she passed away, after 1 month, the business came crashing down. And it was such a bad hit that they had to sell that house. And after that, they bought another house, which again came under some crisis. They had to sell the house. It was then that he realized that I chose my house over my mother. And her soul still has not blessed us. She's still around and she's looking for that acknowledgement. So he actually made a lot of amends, a lot of acknowledgements to her and apologized fervently and probably told his brother, and his father was no more. And went through a lot and lot of repentance and restored the love and order with her. And 3 years later, they've got a house. They still have it. It's been 20 years now. They still have the house. And so this is how constellations work. Apart from the transgenerational work, we also have repressions within us. So there can be one point of time when you have frozen. So you could be living with that frozen or dead or cold part within you for years and years. So we have people who come to the constellation and say, I don't feel alive. I have everything, but I don't feel alive. So when we address that, moments come up where they have, voluntarily themselves decided to shut themselves up. So, and this is all done without the knowledge to the participants. So the people who are doing the role play are not knowing any of the story, but the story will unfold. And it's beautiful how, if one of the partners is looking outside marriage, how when there's love is absent within a marriage, everything, or whether I'm actually carrying conflicts from my childhood, each pattern of the family dysfunction gets revealed. And the moment you start addressing it, the shift in awareness that's created is so great that it just stays with you. And days after you've attended a constellation, you will be still thinking about, oh, this had happened, this had happened, this had happened. So there are two ways in constellations that people participate. Number one, they will come as a case on the floor. Number two, they can come as a participant. Now, I have seen this very often that whenever we have participants who come in, their stories and the stories of the people who are putting their case on the floor match. The stories are similar. And we've seen this across constellations that people with the similar stories actually get together. And when they get together, they have so much to learn from each other's ancestral fields that when we do closure statements, which is called as a final awareness building statement, we do it for everyone. Right? And everyone goes through a shift. So this is how family constellation actually works. I cannot take up one case just now, but I will be taking you all through the process with which you'll be able to identify at least something, right? So we have this training coming up on 25th in Mumbai at Hotel Subha International. It is for 8 days. And this will be my 12th batch of facilitators. And in the 8 days, we will be training you on every aspect of constellation. You have family constellation, you have business constellations, you have your individual constellation, and you have a lot of other work that happens during constellations, which could be repressions. So we work at all levels, and I'll be training you in that. I'll be training you in doing one-on-one constellation with people, how to address one-on-one constellation. That is, if you don't have a group together, how do you work with one person at a time? And then we'll be doing online constellations, like how do you work with people online? So for all of this, my training was spread over 1.5 years, three days, 3 levels, 6 levels we did. And it was an 18 days training. Yes, Vishad. It was an 18 days training that we attended. But what we realized was that level 1 and level 2 were so apart from each other in terms of time that we had lost touch and continuity. And so we spent a lot of time revising, catching up, remembering, okay, this was here, this was there. And because we were the first batch, there was no theory developed at that time. But of course, way down, it was developed. But what I decided to do was go 8 days complete immersion. And full immersion, like 9:30 to 6:30, 5:36, you are there. You are watching around 5 to 6 cases. You are yourself a client, and you will be worked around in 4 rounds of constellation. And when that happens, those 8 days is like a dream world that you are in. It's like, another space completely altogether. And at the end of 8 days, you cannot not learn. Because when you spend something like 8 days with a subject for 8 hours each day, you completely get it. There are two ways of learning, by tuition and by intuition, right? So we start with intuition, and by the end of it all, you are learning by intuition. Suddenly, there will be a moment when everything has just fitted in and you have learned. So, this is what the 8 days training is all about. I have put across on the thread number of times the content that we are going to cover. So, I'm not going to be speaking about it right now. And we are going to be doing it at Andheri Hotel Suba International. That's where we always do it. And you will be put into practice groups later on. And Mumbai group is very active. They meet, at least they try to meet often because of their busy schedules. If they cannot, they don't, but then they try to meet often, at least once a month. I've noticed they're all meeting. And there are people, all my students, most of them who wanted to become independent practitioners, are holding individual workshops with as much as 15 to 20 participants. So the course is very, very detailed. We will be giving you proper course notes, everything to fall back upon, and you will be learning every nuance of it. At least I try to deliver what I can to the maximum possibility. And post course support is available whenever you have a constellation and you need help with that. I'm always available. So, this is what this course is going to be about. I will once again repost the entire content on the thread. And now we look at the course cost is very subsidized. It is actually probably less than 50% of contemporary or other courses in the market. And though comparison is not a good thing to do in terms of, uh, money, but money matters to everybody. So I have to bring it up. We all have resources which are unlimited and resources which are limited. And money is a limited resource and money matters. So I'm telling you the course fees is 60,000 payable in installments, and only what you have to pay at the time of joining is the hotel cost, and then we can fix up installments. Though if you make upfront payment, it will be great, you will get further discounts. So this is all in brief about the course. Let us now look at the process that we are planning to do. So I would like each one of you to think of the biggest challenge in your life right now. Just for a moment, be with me, close your eyes, and think of the biggest challenge in your life that actually is persistently there with you. So just be with yourself and think, and now ask yourself for how long this challenge has been. Go back in years to see for how long this challenge has been with you.
What happened? You came back.
Go further back to see a generation before you, if any of your parents face this challenge. look to see if there was any parent you wanted. If you are a girl, did you want to take the place of your mother? And if you're a man, did you want to take the place of your father in your mother's life? It may not apply to everyone, but for those whom it's applying, and you're getting in sync with certain patterns that you have adopted from your parents. It was there in their life, it's there in your life. Okay. And now let's take a stand. You are standing with your children and your family, and right in front of you, both your parents are standing with all their ancestors lined up behind them. Your mother, her parents, your father, his parents, and then their ancestors all lined up in a very big line. And you bow down to your parents and you tell them, you are my parents. I thank you for bringing me on this earth and giving me the gift of life. I will always be there as a child for you, but I take this moment to give back all the dysfunctional patterns that I have inherited due to my love and loyalty and carried them forward. I give them back to you. And as you pass it behind, you keep freeing every generation. So imagine you're holding a weight of a pattern that you've picked up from your parents. You give it back to them, saying, I give back all the dysfunctional patterns back to you. And they pass it behind. With every passing generation, the weight keeps going behind and is finally released to light. Tell them, I stand to create new patterns of joy, harmony, and love in my life. And I seek your blessings for the same. All of you, your children, and your spouse, bow down. Take the blessings. And turn around as they bless you, as all the ancestors wholeheartedly shower love upon you. And they are feeling their souls are set free of these patterns. You turn around after taking their blessings and walk forward to find a place of love and harmony for yourself and your family. All right, friends, you all can open your eyes and also open your videos. Wonderful. Right. So, any questions that you all have? This was just one of the process. We have more than 30 to 40 such clearing statements, 30 to 40 such orders that we want to restore within the person, within the family. So this is one closure way we do it, and there are 20 to 30 different ways that we do closures. Property, land issues, business issues, business constellations. You'll be able to go ahead and work with corporates, companies, and do business constellations for them. That's also a part of the program. So any questions that you have right now, I would be more than happy to answer.
So I wanted to ask you, like, when you said in a family constellation, there are different participants who are having similar issues generally, and they all come together. So is it like you're invoking soul or something as in a
We
family
don't know,
constellation?
you know what? I can pretend to be smart enough to answer how it works, but I'm not going to do that because this is one answer which how the systemic framework works, how everybody comes together with similar interests and causes. Savita, can you please sit down? How everybody comes together with similar causes and similar concerns is something that's very collective forces bring them together. And that's why we say when we actually go beyond the body, mind, intellect, the whole field of supraconscious is common to everybody. So I can just be a part of your story merely with my intention. So the intent, this is basically a lot of intent healing there. But yeah, we've had constellations where we've addressed twins, and they have been like 5 people who were twins. And once there was a theme just formed up of adopted children, and there were 6 people who, in the same constellation, same room, who were adopted children. I don't know how it works, but it works. Because, you know, with energy work, sometimes you always will come to a point where you will say, I don't know how it works. With logical analytical work, yes, you will always be able to decipher, but with energy work, that's exactly where you surrender and you say, I don't know. It's your constellation, it's your matrix, it's speaking to you. This is what needs to happen, this is how you do it.
So when you are clearing the energy of your previous generations, are you also doing something for your children? Like
Yes,
in the
the
family
pattern will
constellation?
not go to your children.
Okay.
Very often people come to us because they are not so scared for themselves. They have come because they saw that now what was happening with me is okay, but it's also happening with my child. So that also gets cleared. So a lots of realization. So I don't know, I just find it very amazing how it works, how it transforms you as a person, how it makes you subtler, you know, it dilutes your ego. We all have this, I know it, I can do it, I can fix it. So, you know, all of us live with this fixer mentality somewhere or the other. But when you go to a constellation, you got to drop it because you know it that you have not been able to fix it. And there's a bigger field that is operational. And you also learn how to just let the energies flow. You become so sensitized to the energy that you may actually be doing only 2, 3 sentences in a 1 hour constellation. The floor space can take it all up. It's very beautiful the way it rolls. Like, even if I was to demonstrate one here, I need 1.5 hours. So, and it wouldn't be fair to the person whom we take up.
Correct.
So,
So for somebody like me who is not into practicing any modality and it's a new thing for me. And
yeah.
what I see is generally people who are hypnotherapists or into any kind of therapy, for them to pick up on, the learnings in a class
No,
is
you
it
don't
that
need to. That all is my training. That you don't worry. I don't need you to come from any background at all.
okay? And
I
what
need
did you mm-hmm.
I need you all to just come and be there. The rest is my job. I don't need a background of psychology. I don't need a background of NLP. I don't need you to come from any backgrounds.
And what did you say was the scope of things for us apart from our own clearing? Like
No,
how can
you
we
actually can go ahead and call yourself a family constellation facilitator, organize workshops, take in people, and just stand alone practice like I do. I have my regular practice, but after I started doing constellations, like 5 out of my 10 clients are constellation clients who come in for personal constellations. I'm not very active in the group space simply because, when I get time, I organize one, and I keep very tight schedules. So I'm not able to build a attending community, but I have a student community. So, but if you get active, I can introduce you to my students. They will drop in the course. Many previous students will drop in who are today full-fledged practicing in Mumbai, having their, weekly sessions in constellations regularly being attended by 10, 12 people. So just call yourself a family constellation facilitator, and that's about it.
and how do you clear your own energy after doing this kind of
So I
thing?
don't ever do that. And I must say, I'm not even infested with energies. So it's all
No, what I
inside.
mean is when you're helping, when you're doing for people, right? You're also taking in their energies. So you're
No,
not.
no,
Mhm.
there's nothing like that happens. It's all, when you're not the doer in a constellation. That's the beauty. You are not doing anything. It is the client's matrix, client's field. The client is doing everything. Everything's unfolding is about them and their life. So you
You're
are merely
just
doing the,
facilitating.
yeah, you are merely a facilitator and nothing
Mhm.
else. And there's a lot, 60% of it will be done by the field itself. And yes, what I'll be teaching you is interview techniques, which is what do you decide to put on the floor, which elements should you bring in first, what should you bring in later, how do you go deeper within the framework, how do you allow more to precipitate. So that is all the skill that you got to learn. Once you've learned it, then I'll ask you to drop everything. It's like a pole vault, right? You take the pole, you go all the way up, but in order to reach that height, you got to practice. Once you're there, you got to drop the pole. So that's what constellation training is all about. First, you learn, and once you have learned everything, then I'll tell you drop everything now. Now just watch it go, watch it roll.
And for your own workshops, you will obviously need a certain number of people.
There, all people come in. So all the student community will come in. Every time
Okay.
I announce,
Okay.
five, six people will come in as per their convenience.
Okay. Okay.
And that you're allowed to attend n number of times.
So once we have done the program with you, we can come back again
Of
for
course, you
being a
can. You
part
can
of
also
your
come for a
program.
repeat class. You can come for my constellations also. Sometimes when students come, I allow them to facilitate.
Hmm.
And but moreover, you will form a community. The work is so solid and so good that
Hmm.
you will form a community of your own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ma'am, when are you going to start online?
Online,
That's
I'm
my question.
start planning August, but I would, Vishal, at the end of online also, I'm going to ask you all to come for a 3 days in-person training.
Can, ma'am, that we can do, but because as you know where we stay,
Now you are
so
in Singapore, so you can't come, I understand. But yeah, so online I will start. I will be doing it in August. But I personally can tell you the learning should be better offline, because I am going to ask all my online people also to come in for practicals offline.
And that will come for 3 days.
Yeah,
Fine, we can come in.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So we are starting on 25th, and I would want one favor from all of you. We are 12 people here. Can you all pick up your phone and just say I attended on the thread, on the group thread? Just write down I attended. So we know who of you all attended. We can save your numbers. Not here, Jimita. Put it on the WhatsApp chat.
So I had a question, rather an inquiry, basically.
Yeah, tell me,
Um,
Vaishali.
I wanted to know, like, there's something also called as shadow work. Now, I understand that in the family constellation thing, like right now, what we did is that whatever pattern or dysfunctionalities our family is having as a matrix or as a constellation together, we
Yeah.
kind of release it and we pass it back and say that that's not mine to carry, or
Hmm.
like not my stuff to carry. So I'm kind of releasing it from me.
Yeah.
But if we talk about like the shadow work, it kind of talks about integration and not about disowning that thing. So, is there a little like
I don't know. It
conflict
could be
over there?
conceptual differences in the way of dealing with it. And so I don't know. I'm talking here about constellation. This is the way we
Okay,
do it here. And there's nothing right or wrong. End of the day, it's a
okay,
shift in awareness.
okay,
You have to understand the basic concept is revolving around shift in awareness. The moment
okay,
your awareness shifts, everything happens. The biggest predicate, and many modalities do it differently. So it's
okay,
neither right nor wrong. It's awareness shifting. Awareness shift the consciousness. Consciousness shift the influences. The influences shift your decision, shift your actions, shift your thought processes are clear.
okay. And when we attend with these other people who will be there in the workshop or in the training program, over there, like, do the people who come in, they pick up
Yeah,
their
we
own
call guest
partner?
also. We call guest also.
No, but like, say, if I am being called, or say, if I am the one participating and I come in the center, so do I pick up my own partner, like,
No,
who'll
we'll
sit beside me?
when you come there, we'll see. Now, so that is getting
All
into
right,
the nitty-gritty. So now we are
all
not,
right.
this will have to run a training program for that. Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure.
And one more question.
Yeah.
Sometimes we feel the other person requires a family constellation or something,
Huh.
but we like by talking to them, speaking to them, we understand. But when you speak to them, they are not interested in coming into that particular thing. So what should we do? And we know they need
So
require it.
as I understand, if you are persistent about anything, people
Mm.
follow.
Okay.
You just have to say it once that I would like you to attend, and it would be interesting if you could come. Once they
Mhm.
come in, it's up on their consciousness. If it is touch, the modalities for them. If it's not for them. So, whereas energy work is concerned, there's a lot of surrender element that comes in. But trust me, the more you surrender, the more you roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I hope you have all messaged me. I attended on the WhatsApp group.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yeah, tell me.
So in family constellation, what I've heard is that when you the people who are participating and supposing they are playing the role of any of your relative,
Yeah,
and you will see that there is a shift after this, even in your relative, that particular relative, that happens
it will happen
on its own.
on its own.
So then why do they need to come? So if they are not agreeing to come, then isn't it also working on them already without they coming?
You can do that.
Okay.
But
So
you
that
might have to make them aware. You might have to take their permission or make them
okay.
aware. Or maybe
Okay.
your understanding of that person needs to shift. Who knows? It could be the way you deal with them, the way you are softening towards them, the way you are including them. Once you understand a person is having X behavior and you understand the reason is that they lack love in life, next time you approach them, you will have that in your mind and you will be approaching them with a component of love. Their behavior will automatically shift. But not to say that there is no energetic shift. There is energetic shift in their awareness also.
Okay.
All right, guys. So some of you haven't messaged. I've got 8 messages and we are 11 people here. Please message, guys, so I can put you all on database, and I hope to see some of you across. And we are starting on 25th. It would be great if you all can make up your mind and keep in touch and do message. It would be great to hear from you all that you all want to join in right now instead of us following up with you. I'm trying as much as possible to make it come from you people so that, frankly, my marketing work is lesser. So that's about it. All right, guys. So I see you all across sometimes, and bye bye. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.